Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. And one of those age-old discussions, is what's the best Leatherman? And many of us do actually spend our time wondering about such things, especially when new Leathermans come out. Now, Leatherman has a couple of new ones. They're kind of going in some innovative directions, but it takes me a while to get up to speed with particular Leathermans because I'm either still using ones I like or I have to use them for a while in order to figure out, what's good, what's the best difference between them. It's like the Signal seems to be a popular one. It's like a bug out survival tool because it has, all the great Leatherman tools, plus it has a fire starting rod, so you can scrape it and start a fire. But okay, I get that. It's kind of neat on there. I like bigger fire rods, more advantageous for working with them when it's dark, when it's cold, in not ideal conditions. But it is cool that it's on there. But as I was talking to a few people about different Leathermans, one of the things that came up, and I didn't mention it out loud, but when trying to decide amongst different kinds of Leathermans, different features on the Leathermans, different sizes of the Leathermans, is so many people don't actually have a steady application for a Leatherman multi-tool, so it's hard for them to decide which one is best for their needs because their need is unknown. And I thought, well, that's interesting. I immediately look at the Signal or some of the other ones and think, yeah, that would be good in some cases, but that's not really what I need it for. Not for fishing or hunting or for, roadside repairs of whatever it is, whether it's a chainsaw or a bike or a vehicle. But one thing that I think we all can do is, make those value judgments based on what we like, what feels good in the hand with the operation of it, if the tools that we want are where they should be. And I always liked the titanium one just because of the feel in the hand, but this one's pretty dated. And they were expensive because you were paying for the titanium, but it wasn't very light. And then one of the things is the kind of on the wave is you needed some parts that you could change because those were the things we were wrecking the most, chewing on the teeth there. This one also had better steel in the knife blade. Sometimes Leatherman's inexpensive steel. You can see on here this has S30V steel versus the standard, I don't know if it's 440 or 420 steel, which isn't the best steel. It's a good steel, compared to maybe some of the old cowboy carbon steels. But anyway, handle designs, Leatherman makes a couple that have kind of the bent or pressed steel versus what appears to be, a more refined molded steel. This saves some money, but then they're all expensive. Anyway, they also came out with, a few years ago, what they called, as you can see, their Free series, and this is the FreeP4. This is the FreeK4, or Knife 4, and then this is the Free T2. And the concept behind Free had to do with a couple of things. One is they are held together, this one is held together magnetically. So once you break that magnetic bond, it's possible to open it one-handed. But anybody who's used a Leatherman, it might take a little longer, but you can easily open one-handed, and you can also generally close it one-handed as well after you've used it. But most of the time you don't need to open or close it one hand because you have two hands. But yeah, you can open and close this easily with one or two hands. Also, they made the knives much more accessible than the old ones that had the little fingernail groove. But the concept here is that you can easily get at whatever the tools are by flipping up the kind of the little thumb pushing area here, and then you can sort them and choose the one you want, and they all lock. So I've been using this. I actually carried it for quite a while on a trip, and I really like it. It's moved into my new favorite position. I tried out their knife. This is designed as a knife that just happens to have some of the other tools in it. Scissors and screwdrivers and all. And bottle opener, gotta have that, I guess. But I don't like the feel of it in the hand as much. Plus it's aluminum, and this gets in the way that, you know, of knife use, which is its primary function. This one's a little bit smaller, much more affordable. I find it pretty wonky. But anyway, so why do I like it? I guess it does feel good in the hand. It does move, you know, from position to position, blade to blade, quite easily. I do like, believe it or not, I don't know if I've got one here, a spring-loaded one. Yeah, I don't have one in this group. But the spring-loaded ones, like the Wingman, not the rebar, forgot the others. There are 2 or 3 that have spring-loaded handles. Those are really nice when you need kind of like a dedicated pair of pliers. But this one, just silky smooth. Very simple to operate. They're really going in a nice direction here. The lock, I have trouble trusting it, but I haven't had a failure yet. It's just like such an old school lock. But it does seem rock solid. Anyway, I'd be curious what your favorite Leathermans are and why. And again, sometimes they just seem handy, or we would like to have maybe a lifestyle that was more adventurous and we got to use these things more often. But trying to decide which one when you don't have a daily use other than maybe sharpening pencils or opening cans or something like that. You know, you want that kind of Survivor Man experience so you can really dial in, you know, how big a blade do you need? I mean, because a lot of these, that's a big selling point. Which blade? And they also, you know, make little blades and different shaped blades. So this one's on the inside, which is a real pain. I don't like these at all. But you can see the different styles. And then, of course, this one, they really kind of went out and designed, you know, a completely different style blade. So Leatherman is experimenting. I like this blade a lot. I find these tips too sharp, too fragile. I've broken a bunch of them. And just this is not a really functional blade shape for me. I don't carry a pocket knife that has this. I'd rather have a little bit of, if it's going to have a really sharp point, I'd rather have it get to the point a little more aggressively. Kind of more how that's doing it, or a good drop point, or this is like a modified sheep foot, and that's actually a really handy shape. There is a little bit of upswing right at the end there. But overall, I think they've done a good job with the Free. They are under a lot of stress to make some amazing knives and multi-tools now because there's so much competition. So I'm curious where they're going to go in the future, because there's a market for these $100, $150, $180 multi-tools. People are buying them and using them. So let me know what your favorite is and why. And if you've got features that you wish were on them, because I know the multi-tool folks do look around on YouTube and read comments and are curious where to go with new designs. Anyway, with that, Doc out.